I'm Bob Harris of Decorative Concrete Institute. Welcome to Duramin's training and educational series for industrial and decorative flooring systems. On our concrete surface preparation series, we've talked about different methods and tools and techniques for profiling the existing concrete. Certainly, depending on the medium that you're putting over the concrete substrate, may require different methods of preparing a concrete surface profile. We've talked about the buffing machine with sanding discs and sanding pads. We've graduated up to the dustless grinder, and now we're going to talk about this little guy, which is called a shot blast machine. Now, like the other tools, shot blasting machines come in a wide variety of different sizes. This blasts a path of about 8 inches wide, so this would be used for small jobs, perhaps a garage, 400 or 500 square feet. You start to get into larger applications, certainly you're going to want to use a much larger machine. The way that the machine works, inside of this machine, this door pops open. There's a screen in here to collect any debris. Certainly you don't want any screws or anything that's going to get down there in the mechanism and damage that. But what happens is you put steel shot inside of this compartment right here, and the steel shot comes in a variety of different grits or different sizes, ranging from about a 170 steel shot all the way up into the 320. So what we're blasting with is roughly about a 220 grit steel shot, which is giving us a fairly aggressive profile. So when we start to get into toppings or coatings where we're building thick mills, perhaps 30 or 40 mils or thicker, we want to get into an aggressive profile like we're getting here. This is roughly a profile of about a 5, which I'll show you after we demonstrate how this tool runs. But what it does is it injects the steel shot down onto the surface of the concrete. The steel shot abrades the surface, while at the same time we hook up our vacuum recovery system here, and that extracts all of the airborne dust particulate and the contaminants that's being taken off of the floor. It is a very great method of preparing surfaces. So keep in mind, we're going to demonstrate the shot blast machine. I'll turn on my dust extractor here, and this is just a great tool for profiling your concrete surface. Okay, a couple of observations on our shot blast machine gave us the profile that we're looking for, very aggressive profile. Over here, which you don't see, there's an amp meter, and basically for the amps that we're pulling off of our outlets and the vacuum that we're using, we want this, when I engage the handle right here, which opens the door for the shot, basically we want to be running somewhere around 15 amps. The reason that I bring that up is not every concrete is the same hardness, and so sometimes if you're running too hard of amperage, the vacuum won't keep up with it, and it'll dump way too much steel shot on the floor. So if you see a lot of shot remaining on the floor, check your amperage. Also, you'll notice I stopped over there, and the reason for that is as I was going forward, I felt resistance. I could feel when I got to the end that the machine was resisting just free flowing or easily going onto the surface. And the reason, see right there, I'm having to push really hard. The reason for that is this is not a flat surface of concrete. There's an undulation or a slight hill in the concrete. So rather than force the machine, I'm just going to back off, get everything this direction that I can, and then I'm going to simply go with the elevation of the high ridge and run the machine perpendicular this way, so there's no resistance. Okay, let's check our profile. It appears to me in areas that we are very aggressive. As I mentioned, this is somewhat soft concrete, so we're going to just look at a 3. We're nowhere near a 3. We're much more aggressive. Here's a 4, not even close. We're going to come over here to a 5, and the 5 is getting very close. So this is what we call a concrete surface profile, CSP of 5, and in some areas, we're as much as a 6, okay, in some of these areas. So this concrete surface profile is right between somewhere of a 5 profile or a 6 profile. And this is great. Now we're getting into a profile that's going to allow us to build much thicker millage of trowel down mortars, perhaps, self-leveling materials, repair mortars, stampable overlays, things of this nature. So this is just a wonderful profile, allowing us to move on to our next step. Once we've completed our shot blasting process, at a bare minimum, you want to use a good shop vac or a vacuum recovery system that's going to remove all of the residual steel shot and any left behind dust particulate that could prohibit bonding of whatever the material is you're putting over it. Now, it's not a bad idea, like we talked about with the dustless grinder, and assuming that your material allows for this, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just auto scrub and vacuum up, squeegee vac up any of the residual. Where that would not apply, if you're working with perhaps it's a thick build coating that's moisture insensitive, you wouldn't want to introduce a lot of moisture to the surface. However, on most of our cement-based toppings, obtaining a SSD, saturated surface dry surface, is actually desirable. So it's not a bad idea to go ahead and wet this down, auto scrub it, and then vacuum up the residual, and then you're ready to go on to the next step. Every project has its own unique qualities. For this reason, that's why it's important to consult your Duraman representative for project-specific questions. Now, you may have questions on mix ratios, which is certainly listed on their website, or other project concerns such as moisture. Now, the industry standard is 3 pounds of moisture vapor transmission in 1,000 square feet in a 24-hour window. Now, Duraman has a complete line of moisture-related products. For example, Purdue MVT will take 8-pound readings, and it'll cover up to 8 pounds in 1,000 square feet in 24 hours. Purdue MVT Plus will get you 18 to 20 pounds of moisture vapor transmission and bring it down to within acceptable tolerances. And also a great system to consider is Purdue UMC, which is the urethane modified concrete, which is good up to 18 to 20 pounds of moisture vapor transmission.